Hey, welcome everyone. Today we'll talk about leadership in crisis management. In this presentation, we'll understand how to mitigate crisis altogether, how to find solace in a confused world, a confused environment, how to see clarity when there is ambiguity all around it. So, yes, let us proceed with leadership in crisis management per se. The definitions thereby is leadership is the capacity and probably will rally men, women to a common purpose, a character which inspires confidence. Or alternatively, it's an ability to influence, ability to motivate, and probably enable one's team to contribute towards the effectiveness and the success of an organization for its member. And this is what is known as leadership. We have other viewpoints also, the skills of influencing people to work enthusiastically towards a goal identified as being the most common of our goals. Now, this common good that we are looking for it for a greater cause of humanity per se or the followers thereby, essentially in the corporate world, it's an organizational goal that we are looking up to it. The leader is a gentleman or the lady who can muster courage, directs all the resources at their disposal for the achievement of the goal in a faster, quicker, and a most efficient fashion. And that is what exactly is meant by leadership. Remember, the way they rally men and women for the common purpose is essentially the qualities of a wonderful leaders per se. Remember, leadership is not about power. It is probably not even about authority. What is leadership? It is a charisma that beckons people to obey the command and follow the dictates that the person is issuing. So it is an authority in the scope that people goes when bows down altogether. Power is the ability to force or probably curse someone to do against one will, even if they choose not to do so. So that is where we are talking about power. Power can be used, power can be abused. Please understand these fine nuances. But in terms of leadership, it is all about authority which has been ascribed forward. Authority is defined as the skill of getting people to do willingly on your own will because of the personal influences that a leader employs. Leadership, therefore, is viewed more as a skill and often used to influence followers in an organization to work enthusiastically towards goal, specifically identified for the common good while building relationship. One can look at different example. It is there in all books of knowledge, all books of religion. Probably you can have it, you name it and we can go about it. You have Jesus Christ as the leaders, Moses, Joshua, which has been depicted in the biblical example. A leader must have a vision which he can influence others. When I say others, the followers, the team members, to subscribe to that particular vision and probably make that vision a reality in due courses of time. Remember, when there is no vision, people actually perish. A leader must therefore have certain values, certain beliefs, certain attitude, which corroborates in building a stronger bond, or should I say, relationship between the compatriot, the team members per se. Let us understand crisis. Remember, we are talking about leadership in crisis in this particular presentation. So I've said everything about leadership. Now let me clarify what has been meant by crisis. The Chinese define the word called danger or opportunity. So look at it. It has a negative connotation, and you can also have a positive connotations towards it. Crisis, according to the Chinese, depicts danger or probably opportunity. Crisis is also defined as calamity, cataclysm, emergency, disaster, crossroad, crux, climax, culmination, point of no return, or probably, if I may say so, is the turning point, as the case might be. Remember, crisis normally arises unexpectedly. Nobody is expecting crisis. Nobody is expecting the event which might be, which is not at all planned. It is most unfortunate and usually is unforeseen. While in a crisis there is a risk, it is normally type of unforeseen risks as the case might be. According to the Murphy's laws, anything that can go wrong will definitely go wrong. And this is what happens during the course of a crisis. A crisis that is not correctly managed probably will escalate and deteriorate into a catastrophic event. So, believe me or not, it is the leaders who can manage the crisis, and that exactly I'll be dealing in this particular presentation. How can you do about it? One parameter that can be employed upon is EI, or emotional intelligence, as the question might say so. It is a form of social intelligence that involves the ability to monitor one's own and probably others' feelings also. Not only the feelings of one owns, but also the emotion of other. Not only to understand or rationalize the feeling, probably take advantage of it, and on a logical basis to discriminate among them, to use this information to guide one's own thinking and action. It is therefore used to describe qualities like understanding one's own feeling, empathy for the feeling of others, and the individual ability to regulate probably his or her emotions in a way that determines behavior and decision making in a proactive fashion, always in a positive connotation that we love to look into it. Emotional intelligence refers to a person's ability to be aware of and manage even one's emotions, to successfully manage the emotion and the emotive responses of the others in various formal or informal settings. When I say various formal and informal setting, is the culture that we talk about, the environment we talk about, the situation we are talking about it. It is the emotional intelligence should understand, make some notions about it, and come up with option which optimizes towards the greater good of the common people. In simple terms, it is nothing but how tells us how to conduct oneself in an emotionally charged situation, as the case might be. Remember, emotionally charged situation is the crisis that we are talking about it. Now, let us understand the core competencies of leadership. How do we go across our core competencies? It is arguably whether a leader is born or made. People have dispute upon it. They are for number of centuries people are of the opinion that leaders can be cultivated, they can be groomed, they can be made. But then there are other school of thoughts which says leaders have been born, probably you cannot grow them. They have this inbuilt characteristics which they are ingrained with or probably blessed with. But modern approaches is that the leaders can be made and probably can be developed also. Developing leaders means equipping them with a key leadership competency. And what are they? Talking about key leadership competency, what are they? They are one thing called commitment. Please remember, do not follow uncommitted leaders. Commitment can be seen in full range, such as personal sacrifice, how the leaders will go on giving personal sacrifices altogether for the greater cause of the followers, putting your best efforts. And in recent times, the servant leadership concepts have actually gone viral altogether. The servant leadership is where the leadership is putting for the service for the benefit of the followers in the process of doing benefits or in the process of serving the followers. He or she imbibes such kind of cult feeling wherein the followers would love to follow his dictates altogether. We are talking about charisma. It is an ability where a leader can draw people. I have been trying to tell it to you a number of times. Apart from commitment, it is the charisma that relents the competencies of a leader. It's the ability to draw people, the ability to make salutations in front of a person, being more concerned about others, making feeling them to making them comfortable in your amidst. That is what will make the will create a charisma about a leader. Next is all about initiative. A leader is always proactive. They begin with the end in mind. They begin any dialogue, any situation with the end objective in mind, and accordingly manipulate the situation or handle the situation in a fashion that their objectives has been realized sooner than later. Putting things first. What is it all about? It is all about priorities. We are looking at prioritizing. The leaders are looking to prioritize of what exactly is important, and any faltering in the prioritize would mean a catastrophic effect. But here is the quality of a leader knows what to prioritize, which is on an urgent basis, and does so. Another competencies of our leaders would be the character. Yes, a person who is transparent enough. Yes, the person who is upright morally. Yes, a person who is ethically right. Yes, the person is leading by an example in a favor, as in we keep on saying around it. There was this famous saint of Swami Vivekananda who went to New York and said around it, do as I do, but not as I say. So, what does it mean? It means nothing. It means only action speaks louder than words. It is the action that people will see, follow, and understand. Do not follow the words by saying. So, talent is a gift, character is by choice that we come across it. Another paradigm of competencies of a leader is the communication process. Seek first to understand before seeking to be understood is what communication. First, listen. People hardly listen. In the form of communication, they are interested in more speaking and less of listening, which is the wrong notion. Do not speak about people's head. Do not shout your voices. That doesn't make sense. In fact, when you shout your voices, you are just creating a lot of rumbling or a lot of noises, nothing else. Share ideas and knowledge as so as to evoke a sense of urgency and enthusiasm in others. If you can't get your message across, you can never inspire, you can never motivate others. So, converting your message related, making people empathetic to your vision, to your cause, is what is a vibrant communicator will do it. Communicators take something very complicated and breaks it down in such simple words that even a layman can comprehend and understand it thoroughly. So develop an ability to negotiate and achieve a win-win solution or situation every now and then. Another aspect of leadership is competence, this ability. What needs to be done, it is the skill that I'm talking when I say competent. Sharpen the saw, or should I say sharpen your knife. Acquire the requisite skills that is to be done, which is in demand. Demonstrate your knowledge, demonstrate your skills, and believe me or not, people will be living in awe, and they are bound to follow your diktat. Say it, plan it, execute it as expected using your know-how. So display excellences and depth of hand. You remember a good sailor emerge are often seen when there is a storm in the sea. In fact, there are sailors who will resist going into the storm, but it is the good sailor who can navigate the ship across the storm in a safe harbor very safely and calmly. They'll keep their head calm. What are they good at it? They are good at their competence. They are good at the skill level. They are good at the knowledge. They are good at utilizing the opportunities to other benefit. Next best requirement for competence would be focus. Let's say if you chase two rabbits or birds at the same time, will you find any one of them? Probably no. Both of them will escape. So what is missing? Your focus. Pursue a clear and definable vision, as the case might be. Our leaders will have much more focus on what you do well, how you delegate to others, what are you weak at it, what needs your attention. Divide focus or attentions to the work against the leader. Generosity. A candle loses nothing by lightening another, as simple as it says. So pass on the beacon of knowledge, pass on or equip your followers with the requisite skills. There's nothing wrong in doing it. Be honored more than what you give, then what probably what you receive. Give more, take less, as the case might be. There is more satisfaction in giving and earnest compared to the receiving. Share in the time of needs, as I have been trying to tell it to you every now and then. Share that thing, and this is what is going to take you in due courses of time. Let us talk about the courage. A leader would be having wonderful elements, or should I say, dollops of courage at his disposal or her arsenal. Courage is not the absence of fear, but probably the ability to conquer the fear. That is what exactly is courage. I understand, and we believe all leaders are essentially human beings, and therein lies the fear, the sense of unknown things. But it is the leaders who are not going to be bogged down by the fear, but probably are going to conquer it. Courage is the fear that has said its prayers. Courage is particularly a virtue. In fact, courageous people are always looked at in a higher esteem. Next one would be discernment. Do not believe in everything you hear. What other words would be? Do not use your vision through your ears altogether. Do not believe. Seeing would be believing. Hearing would be believing. Relating it to it be believing nowadays. So be able to pick up the grain from the shaft. When you are in a hole, stop digging. When you are in a very pathetic condition, doesn't make sense to make up a noise and create a humdrum. Play with your time, be patient, and look for an opportune moment before you can revert back. Be analytical and do not take things at a face value. As they say, never ever judge a book by its cover. Remember EI or EQ, emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, which is more important. Now we come understand what is leadership in crisis. The above competencies are more critical in the times of crisis than during a normal situation. You know what happens in normal situation? We can think it out, we can plan it out, we can have the team building, we can share our decisions, percolate our decision, implement it. But in crisis, everybody is at the fag ends of their wits. Absolutely, they do not know what to be done, and this is where leadership can take the proper shape. During crisis, emotions are likely to rise because of the feeling, perception, experiences that people have in crisis. Crisis puts a leader and the follower under immense pressure. Crisis creates panic, particularly in the followers. Let's say there are n numbers of crises. Yes, the David Goliath situation, the Battle of Great Britain, Zimbabwean war for independence, the currency crisis, the crash crisis that has been experienced in Zimbabwe, the droughts, the floods, the COVID-19 epidemic, the Ebola epidemic, the war in the Middle East, the war in the Ukraine and Russia. There are so many crises which has been present. You see, you look around the world, we are in the middle of a confused state of affairs. So let us understand in a crisis, what does a leader do? First and foremost thing, the leader can quickly have a grasp of what exactly is happening. More importantly, what is to be expecting out of it. Most importantly, the visions towards the end goals, the end objective. So gather resources accordingly needed for reaction. Now this is the resources where you require support, probably logistical support, financial support, skill, talent, and come up with a plan to react to it, to give a fitting reply to the crisis. They need to conquer the fear and not panic. Absolutely not panic. Never ever be afraid of any fears, but probably you should plan, devise ways to conquer fear altogether. Indecision, paralysis, cowardice can quickly permeate into followers and cause havoc. So have a confidence, have faith in yourself, and put a brave face, because if you crumble as a leader, the followers will be disseminated, and that is what we need to avoid as a leader. The way a leader behaves in a crisis is hugely influential and therefore immensely critical. Initial shocks and surprises may be quickly be replaced by quick thinking, as the case might be. This is what we are looking forward. Let us understand synergy. Synergy on probably building a strong team. Silence in a crisis is not golden. It can often be very destructive. People can think the leader has been bogged down morally, intellectually, financially, and in spirit. So never remain silent during the process, during the sense of being crisis. Leaders need to communicate quickly their thoughts on the nature of the crisis. Take initial mitigating measures, short-term tactics, absolute strategies to tackle crisis when looking for options and strategies. In fact, I would recommend that never lose the sight of the long term vision, or let's say the end of the crisis. Where do you want to see yourself? In what kind of position do you want to see yourself? And take small baby steps to achieve those steps, those position. So be innovative, think out of box, create new ways of doing things. Do not, I repeat, do not hang around people who with whom you do not have any benefit from. Remember, eagles fly with eagles only. Bird of same feather flock together. A leader sees an opportunity in the crisis and not danger. The Chinese proverb says crisis is either a danger or an opportunity. The leader sees the opportunity and not the danger, or should I say, ignores the danger in the first place. So find out the opportunities in a crisis present. Take advantages of the opportunities and mitigate the dangers thereby. So another way would be reducing the level of damage likely to be caused by the readiness of the crisis. This is the principle of mitigation, which is uh, detrimental in terms of spirit and in laws. Use or experiences if it is applicable. If you do not learn from a history, we become history. Do you want to be that? In fact, they say you have to follow a plan, and if you do not have a plan, you become a part of somebody's else plan. So that is what we need to go around it. Never procrastinate, never postpone your decision till the last moment. Try to devise plans, work essentially, ethically, legally, and earnestly from day one during the crisis. Otherwise, you will succumb to procrastination. And before you realize, it is very too late to react altogether, and probably the crisis will gobbled you up. So have the right attitude. Do not, I remain saying about do not stop sharpening the eggs. Be involved, lead from the front from where it in a crisis. Use our emotional intelligence skills in order to make the correct decision. Let me talk about the emotional intelligence approaches to crisis. As the case might be, assess the moral of your team and ensure it is the right level altogether. This is what we are looking forward to. Show your character as a leader. Love, empathy, considerate. Instill a sense of pride and discipline among your followers, as the case might be. As a leader, you should lead by example, be confident, and exhibit belief in the task at hand, and ultimately the vision you stand for. Where you cannot beat the enemy or adversary, competition seeks to negotiate with him or her, or to partner with him or her, where you can beat him and join them in the process altogether. So let us understand what happens in crisis. Everything goes haywire. So you have to have a contingency plan, the backup plan, the ultimate backup plan as follows. You can have a potential disaster scenario. Can we plan for crisis? Probably you can plan certain crises in advance. Only you do not know when it is going to hit it out. So you can plan, but you never know when it is to be executed as such. So have an immediate aim, have an immediate objective, outline the plan, allocate task and responsibility, top level support for decision maker, funding, resources, crisis command center location, as the case might be about an organization. Communicate with your staff, with your public as on when on necessary. There might be media exercises that goes around it. There might be reputational event that might be at stake. Your organization might be maligned due to a certain operation, or let's say the certain procedures that certain people might have worked around it. So try, please note that you as a leader should ensure you have the necessary backup plan, a succession plan, so that in your absence the organization continues with the development work. It doesn't stifle as in what the other people are saying. Keep them at the background because they don't matter in the first place. You should ensure you have a backup plan and work accordingly. The last slide for the day in this particular presentations would be the key message to be communicated. Show that you care as a leader. Show that you care. Apologize if you think you are at fault. Demonstrate that you have a situation under control. Take effective and decision action when sure about the way you go move around it. Be honest, deal with the mistakes openly and fairly. Demonstrate what are you doing best. How can you improve your position? Show you're working with appropriate authorities and stakeholders to normalize the situation, especially if it relates to safety, security, and livelihood. With this, you could have understand how to manage a crisis, how to behave as a leader, and show the past to your team members all together. With these words, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.